All right, action. They're gonna hate you so much.
For
Oh,
the
you got it
listeners,
down.
for the listeners at home, Joe pressed record right as I was finishing a chicken salad sandwich. He was trying to sandbag me, but I swallowed it before because I'm a professional. I swallowed it before we did our intro.
Yeah, you're a professional swallower.
Um,
Take
but
that.
good to be here. I don't know why I said that like I'm at a comedy club.
Well, I like that you got the uniform on, your black T-shirt. Ever since you went on the road with Louis, you dress like mid 2000s Louis, and you got wet hair.
I know. Well, what's the wet hair have to do with?
Well, you're sexy.
Oh,
You're a
thank you.
shapeshifter.
Appreciate
You
it.
got a. It looks like you combed your beard a little bit. You're all wet. Like you look hotter than normal.
Man, you're talking to you is a real emotional roller coaster. Like you're a hack. You look just like Louis, but you're so hot, and I'm like, I don't know what to feel now.
Well, I'm not saying you're a hack.
Well, I think you don't want to look like someone.
No, well, I think maybe we talked about this. I can't remember. I'm always afraid I'm in repeats because I have the same
Whatever.
thoughts
Who gives a
recurring.
shit? They're not listening.
But Kurt Metzger said that because everyone would be like, "Oh, you're dressing like Louis," and he's like, "No, this is just how comedians dress. We're idiots." And it's like you famous. You need like everyone wears jeans. That's what everyone's just wearing. And then it's like, I have this problem because every T-shirt I have is like Nantucket, Cal University, Iowa University, and everyone goes, "Oh, Iowa." So you need a blank T-shirt because you don't want to wear a dress
blank.
shirt.
Logos are for like kids, apparently, even though all my shirts are just fucking, Iowa Comedy Festival. But you don't want like shit. You want like a solid shirt. But like for chubby people like me or Louis, like black is fitting, and then you can't have a jacket because you get too sweaty. So the black T-shirt is kind of the perfect situation. Exactly. I'm not trying to be Louis. I'm trying to be fat. I mean, I'm not trying to be fat, but I am.
But you're nailing it.
But that's the thing. It's not Louis. It's fat.
Yes, exactly. It's like I started to make a point, and then you just took my point and kept going.
Well, yeah, is that how a riff works? No,
I guess. I mean, but it ended with you being like, "So that's what's up," and I'm like, "Right," but that's what I was saying.
Was that what you were saying?
Yeah, because I was stealing it from Metzger, but
I'll try to explain it more. But yeah, but it's good to be here. I just keep on saying that.
Yeah, and you're almost done. By the way, your apartment, they are working the hell out of that apartment. I mean, he's walking up with paint cans and mops and women.
Well, let me tell you, I've had terrible, like, crippling anxiety for the last couple of weeks, right? And
yes, I know. We've talked about it.
Well, I'm like lightheaded on my anxiety now these days is like somatic, like feelings. I'm lightheaded. I'm walking around dizzy. It's awful. And then it occurred to me the other day, oh, I'm probably having anxiety because I'm moving and I haven't done anything to prepare for it.
Didn't I say this to you? Didn't we have this exact conversation?
Well, a couple people said that, but it took me.
But what about me? Why don't you give me any credit? A couple people said it. We had this conversation on the air.
Did we? You and Caitlin and you may a couple other people. I need like 4 people to say it for me to really for it to sink in. You know what I mean? I'm an idiot. So anyway, yesterday I was like, I should probably get boxes and pack.
Yeah.
And I did it, and it made my anxiety so much better.
Well, you got plenty of DiGiorno boxes if you want to use those.
Well, I went to a place. It's all, I'm overwhelmed by life. I had to go to a place to buy boxes and then, bring it. I mean, it doesn't seem that complicated. I actually packed in like 2 hours. It was ridiculous. I have very few things, but I feel much better now. So thank you for the advice. I took it. It just, it took a little. You can't just immediately people give advice. You can't just like go to it. It has to like sink in. We'll plant a seed and a flower blooms,
I remember I said, I was like, of course you have anxiety. You're on tour with Louis. It's a big deal. You're less control. You're about to move. You've never lived alone. You're a piece of shit.
But did you tell me the moving, that might be some of the anxiety. Did you tell me the moving solution to like prepare? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. The prepare I didn't.
I'm talking about the prepare. Obviously, I know I'm having fucking anxiety. I'm talking about.
But you didn't the other day. You didn't know. You're like, all of a sudden, I'm anxious. Am I gay? My father hates me.
Well, I mean, I kind of knew, but yeah, but like now, but like the big revelation is that if I actually don't repress the fact that I have to move and actually prepare for it, because it's like in a week.
It'll be less anxiety, but it's still going to be anxiety.
It's still anxiety, but like I was really pushing it down. Like I knew it was, but I wasn't like planning for it. Like I like was not packing or anything. I called Spectrum. I have the internet ready. I packed the boxes. You know what I mean?
We could do this pod in person. We got to make your living room a podcast studio.
That's what's going to happen. It's going to be great. We're going to have like we're going to be like Siskel and Ebert. It's going to be,
wait.
Obviously I'm Siskel and you're Ebert. It's going to be a great situation,
Thank you.
Oh, fuck,
finally.
You like that.
Yeah, finally.
I was trying to insult you and do the thing you didn't want.
Plus, I don't even have to have my jaw removed because I never had one. I think we did this joke. Didn't I do this joke?
I don't think we're you always think we repeat. Well, I don't think we're repeating. This is all original material.
All right. I think I might have done that one before, but I read the comments. I got to stop because a bunch of people are like, this is the best episode you ever did. I like you guys just riffing, great banter, great whatever. Yeah. And then other people are like, hey, are you guys going to talk movies or am I an asshole? There's no movies. So I mean, you think you're pleasing people. I'm like, we got to talk less about movies because that's what people like. And then someone else is like, what the fuck is this?
You can only please a quarter of the people half the time and the thirds of the people.
I don't think that's it.
Lincoln.
But I said that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's good. We do the, we have, what did you say the other day? It's very wise. We do what we can do. Right? Isn't that like,
sure.
we don't have the time to like, it's always wise when you say something that's obvious. That's like the key to being wise. It's just like, it is what it is. The less point you're making, the more profound it is. But like, yeah, we can do only what we have time to do. So last week we didn't have time to watch a couple movies.
By the way, people shit on it is what it is as a saying. People think like dumb people say that and it's meaningless, but it's actually quite meaningful to me. There's a lot there that it's like, don't make this more than it is. It is what it is, but you don't want to be that second arrow as they talk about in Buddhism, where it's like, it is what it is. We're late. That's it. It's not whether we're bad people, we're pieces of shit, everyone's going to hate us, we're going to get fired. It is what it is. We're just a little late. So it actually is a thought, a poignant thing to say.
You are right. I mean, it's an Eastern idea essentially, like, and like you can do the whole Seinfeld. Well, of course it is. But like on it, what? Of course it is. What are you telling me? But like the truth is, it's like, no. The whole point is that looking at the thing for what it is and not attaching too much of a narrative or an emotion. That's what I try to do with anxiety. Like when I get lightheaded when I'm walking, immediately attach a narrative. Oh, I'm having this terrible anxiety. Why am I having it? It sucks. I hate myself. I was probably molested as a kid. I don't even know it. All this shit. You know what I mean? But instead, I should just be like, it is what it is. I'm just lightheaded.
Yes.
Separate the emotion, separate the feeling from the story. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Welcome back to Mindful Metal Jacket, folks. There was a bit, I never like to shit on comedians' bits, so I won't say the name of the comedian because I don't want to be that person. But there was a comic that had a bit like that, like we just talked about, like, oh, what does that mean? Where it was like, one day at a time. And I'm not just taking this personally because I'm a sober guy and that's like our saying, because this was before. I felt this way even before that. But it was like one day at a time. Yeah, that's how time works. Oh. And you're like, yeah, but you know what they mean, right? Like you get out in front of your schedule. You're like trying to think about.
Yeah, don't plan too far ahead. Just, no, obviously it's it's a very good message. But yeah, that guy is just, sometimes stand-up is just wrong.
Of course.
Sometimes it's just like, oh, that's just not true.
There was I think it was Andy Daly had a comic, or Andy Blitz, I think it was, had a joke about, he saw a comic who was like, sugar-free candy, who is this for? And he's like, diabetics. That's for diabetics. That's who. But anyways, we got to get into the movies because you have a hard out and a hard on.
Hard on, hard out, hard jizz. Yeah, let's talk jizz, because jizz features jizz is, I think, on the credits of
well, this is really fascinating. So we're talking about Todd Solondz, who I really was excited to hate, and he came through.
You were mad because it was a whole to do, which is upsetting, honestly. Like happiness is not, I didn't realize it's not available anywhere.
No, well, I think it's quite controversial, this film, for some reason or another. But you can't, I mean, this might be a bad episode because people can't even see this movie. I paid $68 to watch this movie for you.
Yes.
Raanan and the audience, I suppose.
Podcast, yeah,
Well, because you requested it. We could have done fucking, Freddy versus Jason for Halloween. But instead,
we did pedophile versus fat lady. I wanted to fucking, I knew you'd love it.
Yeah, it's very good, but the movie doesn't stream anyway. And then you sent me some illegal website. It was like xxxgerbils.com. And you're like, just download it. I'm like, I'm going to have to buy a new computer.
I'm like, Here's a legal link to a movie about a pedophile. Here's a link to a movie where someone is jacking off to child porn.
but doesn't this feel like a part of like the problem with our society is that you cannot find a film.
It's very upsetting.
A beautiful film because it involves pedophilia, I guess. There's no distribution.
It proves the movie's point, which is that no one's talking about things. Everything's so repressed to the point where this movie is just like, let's not talk about this movie at all. Like, I mean, it's insane to me. It's one of the best movies of the 90s. It's a very honest, brutal depiction of life in America, of sexual repression. And no one wants to touch it. It's one of those movies that's got it. I mean, I guess that's true for a lot of things, but comedy, I mean, it's gotten more intense as it goes on. You know what I mean? Like, it was a shocking movie in the 90s, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm watching, I'm like, am I going to get flagged? Like it's a shocking fucking movie, but are we talking about Happiness First? Should we do Happiness
I guess
first?
So, because we're already talking about it. So it seems
in my opinion, it's done in very good taste. I mean, it's a comedy, but it's done with compassion and insight. And there's, to me, all his movies, but empathy is really the key feature, I think, of the movies.
Well, that's what's so fascinating about this movie, which I just finished watching. So it's raw.
I mean, this is crazy. You just finished it, huh?
Like a minute ago. Yeah, I just finished at the very end. But what's so fascinating about it, because the movie, and maybe some people haven't seen it, I hadn't seen it, and you can't see it now unless you want to pay $70 for a DVD, which I did, and I'm glad I did. Maybe I'll flag it. Maybe I'll lend it out to people or something. But anyways, what's amazing about it is the actor playing the pedophile guy,
Dylan Baker,
who's great. What's some of the stuff he's in? I've seen him a bunch.
He's been the dad in a bunch of shit. He's so perfect in this because he looks normal, but there's just a little bit of pedophile in his face, right? There's like a pale pedophile.
I guess I never buy into this. Looks like a pedophile, looks like a school shooter. I'm not saying you, but a lot of times that's just a hack thing. He's got a pedophile look. He looks like a pedophile. I'm not saying you in this instant.
All right, I'm just saying. You look like Louie. You're trouble. I'm not saying you, but just call me hot again. I'll feel good at the end of it.
I'm just like, what do you mean he looks like a pedophile? How does he look like a pedophile?
There's something like a little. Maybe it's just projecting, but there's a pedophile skin tone. It's just a little paler. Like you've been inside jacking off to child porn in a basement for a long time, so you're not getting as much vitamin D. You know, that's what it is. It's a lack of vitamin D, a lack of sun, because you can't jack off to child porn in the park.
He did do it outside in the car, which is a crazy scene.
I guess there was sun coming through the window there.
That's the initial reveal that he's a pedophile. And it's amazing because there's like a woman putting her kid in the back seat. In the background, he's like, can we get ice cream? Which is great.
It's amazing. Well, so that part's interesting because it is very believable that I know it seems crazy that he's doing that in the back of the car, but this is like an overwhelming lust, right? Like it's just crazy. But it is interesting because at first I was watching that, I'm like, that's not a very believable. Like, no, have you ever jacked off like he's like fucking spasming?
Well, what's interesting about it is, and this is what I wrote down, I thought was fascinating because I haven't even got to my original point. So I'll come back around to that point that I didn't get to make. But
what's my fault?
No, not your fault.
Okay,
my fault.
Right.
But what's interesting about it is he jerks off like a teenager. That's what it was like when you were 12 and 13. Ironically, is like you're like, I need to go jerk off now, and I don't care. Like you would jerk off with your grandmother literally on the couch watching while you're over here. And so that's how he jerks off. So he's jerking off to teenagers as though he himself is a teenager because it's so repressed.
It's so repressed. And I mean, obviously visually it works great because, that's a tough thing to set up in a movie, and visually just him in the back seat with the magazine works great, but it also works very believably, logistic. Like you might at first be like, would you really do it in the back seat? Yeah, this is a repressed thing and it's taking him over and it's crazy. You know what I mean?
And it turns him into a child because that's where a child sits in the back seat.
Exactly,
so he feels like a kid. He's in the back seat. There's a kid behind him. Yeah. So, I mean, he's a complete child in this situation. But what I was going to say is that's what's so amazing about this movie is the actor and the character is written incredibly empathetically. And it's the thing I always talk about, which the point about Psycho is you're rooting for the car to sink into the mud.
Yeah.
You feel bad for this guy when he's getting busted because he's portrayed so empathetically and so sweetly. This movie never feels like you're watching anybody extraordinary or out of the ordinary. It feels very normal people.
That's what I wrote down. I wrote down like a lot of people, and your first reaction watching this movie is, this is such a weird, dark movie. But the thing is, it's only weird and dark because other movies don't address this stuff. It's actually a very real movie. I mean, there's obviously like broad, grotesque stuff in it, you know, like the woman who kills the guy, the superintendent or whatever. But like, it's a movie where you see shit you don't see in other movies, but it's not grotesque for the purpose of being grotesque. When Philip Seymour Hoffman jacks off on the wall and puts the postcard, that's just reality. It's just a part of reality you're not seeing in movies. I mean, I won't usually use it to like, I mean, I'll clean it up, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Please don't do that when you move in.
Well, I'm just saying we jizz. Jizz
sure,
comes
we
out.
jizz.
And, and you never see it in movies. It's never there. It's like that, you know, it's like, you know, they didn't have black people in movies for a while. It's like they didn't have jizz. And jizz was not getting represented.
By the way, We Jizz was the original title of the podcast. We Jizz with Joe and Raanan.
Well, yeah, maybe we should go back to that. But
Joe and Raanan watch Jizz.
But so that's like, these moments seem so gross, but it's actually just very real.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not,
absolutely.
It's not weird. It's just honest. Like, honesty looks weird because every other movie is kind of a lie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's a good point. It's a good point. And it doesn't, by the way, doesn't this movie feel like what American Beauty pretends to be?
Yes.
Like that was their thing. It's like, look closer. And you're like, this movie went like American Beauty wins like the most overrated film in history. I think I've said that on every episode, but like, it's like, look closer. And here's a real look of the underbelly of rich suburbanites.
How much I agree with you right now. Cause it's like, cause that, and the thing that plays a big part, it's like, American Beauty is like, look closer, but then everything's so beautiful. So it's like, you can't look closer and just make everyone hot. Like this movie, I mean, obviously aesthetically, it's trying to look like a postcard at times, ironically, but like it's full of ugly people. And that's the thing that makes Todd Solondz great. He's one of the few directors dealing with one of the major issues in society no one talks about, which is how much looks play a part in everything.
Right.
And like the privilege of being hot and being ugly and the how it works and the status of that, like both these movies deal with that in an honest way that I don't see in any movie.
Yeah. By the way, the postcard thing, the movie ends, the last shot is the kid in front of essentially a postcard.
Oh, right.
It's like a little painting of the ocean and the palm trees and stuff. Like he's in this vacation area, just being like, I just came. Because
it's like, it's a perfect image of like, we all try to create this happy, perfect looking society, and we're all deeply horny and not honest about sex, not honest about sexual repression. And ironically, the only people honest is the pedophile and his son. That's the only real honesty in the movie, you know,
which is a tremendous, like, I wish I had the relationship that this guy has with his dad. It's a beautiful relationship. Although I have to say, the one line in the movie I really hate, and it took me out of it. There's one line in the movie that I think just sucks and took me completely out of the movie.
Because I mean, it's obviously a dark comedy and it goes for jokes a lot of times. But
there's a lot of great jokes. I mean, do you want to guess what the line is?
Is it a joke? Is it an attempt at a joke?
It's an attempt at a joke that doesn't fit, doesn't make sense, and it ruins the scene. The best scene in the movie.
Oh, so it's the jerk off scene? The I just jerk off to you line? The scene?
It's the scene where the father and son are talking at the end, and he's like, "I made love to him. I fucked him." And then he goes, "Would you do that to me?" And he's like, "No, I just jerk off."
I don't think that's funny.
Well, either way, first of all, I don't buy that the dad would do that. He seems like such a good dad, a sweet dad. He doesn't seem like he's going to jerk off on his kid. Maybe he does.
He's not jerking off on his kid.
Or at his kid.
He's jerking off thinking about his kid.
That's what I'm saying. I don't buy that.
Oh,
either.
really?
And it actually feels like they tried to put a button there. Maybe I misread it, but either way, it takes me out because I'm like, he's telling his son he would jerk off to him. I feel like even if he is this monster, he would just lie and be like, no, I wouldn't do that. The whole scene is so beautiful and touching. And I can't believe how good that kid is.
He's amazing.
He's incredible. That scene's amazing. It just, when I was watching, I was so pulled in and feeling feelings that it's hard to even describe. And then he says that line. I'm like, oh, well,
it's tough.
Because he's an incestual pedophile now. They just threw incest in there also.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's tough because essentially he's saying that he has sexual feelings for his son, but he like sublimates it. He would never touch him, but he still has it, which I can see you saying. I don't think it's going for a joke, but I see what you're saying where you're like, I don't really buy that. Like he'd fuck other kids, but you think their relationship is like, basically you're saying you didn't see the sexual thing in the relationship.
I don't see it. So I don't believe
it. He
seems like such a good dad and a sweet dad. He just happens to be a pedophile, which I do look at as an illness, by the way.
It's illness, but obviously
he's acting out on it. He's drugging people and raping them.
Pedophilia is an illness, but acting out on it is like a crime. But obviously, I don't have to tell you that.
Yes, I agree that drugging children and fucking them is a crime.
Feeling is not wrong. Wait, hold on. The feeling is just a feeling.
That's the show, folks. Thank you. Join the Patreon.
The feeling is abnormal, but it's not morally wrong. These people have an illness.
Right.
They feel that way. That's not morally wrong to have that desire. It's abnormal and it needs treatment. But in society, we assume the feeling and this is why it's so hard to talk about, because like anytime you try to defend them, people are like, are you a pedophile? Are you saying you want to fuck kids?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, maybe I do, but that's not the point. I'm kidding. But
we're not getting any ads on this episode. But go ahead.
No,
the point is, doesn't it feel a little buttony? I mean, it's certainly intended to be darkly funny when the kid is like, would you do that to me? And he's like, no, I'll just jerk off. It just feels like, oh, that's a funny button. I wish someone had been like, take that out. Because other than that, it's such a real sweet and sad scene. And now we have to be like, oh, wait, so he's been jerking off to his son. I mean, he does offer to show him how to jerk off earlier.
I mean, I think that's the fucked up thing. It's like, it is, and there is feelings there, like real human feelings, but he is inappropriate. Like there is maybe sexual stuff there too. But I mean, you say he seems like a sensitive dad. I would say the fact that he's not raping his kid shows just how good a dad he is. Not how good a dad he is, but like it shows that he's trying not to like do it to his son because he does care for his son, but he does have this disease, you know?
Right. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be a pedophile. I don't know. Like if you're a pedophile and you have a kid, you'd probably want to fuck the kid too.
I don't know. I mean, that's incest. I mean, I'm heterosexual and I don't want to fuck my cousin or my sister or my aunt.
Yeah, I guess with pedophiles, I assume they don't really care about the family thing at that point. If you want to fuck kids, you're probably not, ooh, but my son, that's gross. But
I don't know. I don't know either. I mean, I'm not an expert on pedophilia, obviously, but I would think that that's just what you're attracted to. But I think you'll be able to separate. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't think
I don't think he's attempting to make a joke there. I think it is a sad moment, but I may agree. I agree with you. The possibility that maybe it's a little much.
You don't think that he thought this will be funny to have them both crying and he says, would you fuck me? And he says, no, I'd just jerk off while crying. You don't think he's like, thought this is going to be a pretty funny button?
No, I feel like that's kind of like I mean, I know it's weird, but like, I don't know. I guess I feel of more like an emotional thing. Like, no, but I am attracted to you. That's what it's about. Like, not only am I fucking all these kids, but here's the real ugly truth. I'm also attracted to you, but I would never fuck you.
Right. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. But either way, I just felt like, shit. All right. I didn't care for that. But we shouldn't spend this much time on it because the movie is fucking fantastic.
I mean, let's talk about how just great. I mean, the opening scene, we went all the way to the end. The opening scene is just incredible.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And it's so long and hilarious. It's so satisfying when he takes back the ashtray, whatever the fuck it is.
It's so funny. And Todd Solondz is the master of these just fucking dark jokes, just the darkest jokes in the biz. One of the greatest moments, in my opinion. It's up there with Sideways when he says the line that's a Bukowski line,
Mm-hmm.
In terms of one of the most great, absurd, tragicomic moments is when John Lovitz commits suicide and she's in the office and no one around her remembers who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, this is where it's just like Sideways, that hilarious, absurd insult to injury. Not only do they not remember, they so quickly move on to trying to remember the name of Edward James Olmos.
Right.
That is just such a brilliant, dark, beautiful moment. There's a similar thing, I think, in Welcome to the Dollhouse, which is when she's reading the speech about dignity. It's just like the most humiliating moment in her life. But like the irony of that moment is so fucking powerful,
Yeah, I wrote down, there was a line there. Now I can't find it, but they're like, he's got the acne scars. It's fucking really, really funny. One of my favorite lines, dark jokes, beautiful, is when tries to confess that he's a pedophile and he's raping kids, and he says, "I'm sick," and she says, "Take some Tylenol." I mean, "Take some Tylenol" has to be the best line in the movie. It's fucking great.
Oh my God.
I mean, this guy's literally trying to confess, "I'm a fucking serial child rapist," and half asleep she says, "Take some Tylenol."
I mean, there's so many like just fucking amazing like just jokes for a movie that deals with the biggest issues in life. Being happy in a world that's sexually repressive, pretending that things aren't completely unfair with looks and everything and like all this. But one of the great jokes, I mean, I haven't seen this in any other movie, when Philip Seymour Hoffman is talking about how boring he is in therapy, and it comes to the therapist loading out and doing the grocery list.
Great.
I mean, it's incredible.
It's great. I mean, that's so good. By the way, the precocious gay kid using the term BM is hilarious.
Yes.
An 11-year-old kid saying "There's blood in my BM" is fucking amazingly good. I love that. "Oh, you're a musician?" "No, I just write songs." Is hilarious, which is almost like Zucker brothers.
That's Jared Harris. You know Jared Harris, Richard Harris's son, the Russian Vlad.
No, who is he? What's he in?
Do you ever see Chernobyl?
The TV show?
Yeah.
I watched a little bit. I hated it.
He's the I don't know. I guess he's in a lot of TV shows. Remember, do you ever see Mr. Deeds?
I think so. I hate Adam Sandler too.
It's Morley in the TV show. He can't.
I hate both those things you mentioned. So fuck him. But I also love the kid.
You ever see Sopranos? He's
and he sucks. The kid's depressed. He's pretending to be depressed. Just ignore him. He thinks he'll impress you. I mean, that's so fucking funny.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just like, it's a fucking hilarious movie, but also like so deep and like profound and so like. Yeah, like I said, like empathy. Like, I mean, like it deals with stuff people don't want to talk about. I mean, like Philip Seymour Hoffman in the movie, playing Louis C.K. is.
The amount you're laughing at your own joke is astounding.
But I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman in the movie, like that character, like that's so many people's lives, and it's like never talked about. He's so good, and it's just magical to see. It's a movie I hadn't seen, so it's just so fun seeing him. As everybody knows, he's my favorite actor. Yeah,
and he just plays that character so well.
I mean, this movie gets into the some people criticize Todd Solondz for being too mean-spirited. Like, there's clearly like a lot of venom in his movies, and there's clearly some characters he obviously just doesn't like, like Laura Flynn Boyle, or like he has mean-spirited jokes to all his characters, but like. I think there's real empathy in all the characters on some level, where you see their failed desires, you see their needs, you know what I mean? And you sense a compassion. And I think the movies get to the point where it's like, they are so dark, but that darkness comes from having empathy. When you really try to not ignore the real suffering in the world, when you really try to look at it, it's a pretty dark view. And obviously there's if you have too much compassion, it'll like drown you. But this movie has a level of empathy I don't see in other movies that allows it to not ignore some of the issues in society that are, a lot of them, like looks especially, is a hard thing to talk about because there's no real solution. You can't you can't be like, well, maybe ugly people will get, you can't like, you could do like with class, you can be like, well, maybe we'll have a socialist society, but you can't be like, maybe we'll have a society where all the ugly people get fucked. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
But it deals with this in a way that other movies have never really addressed, I think, you know?
Yeah, it's just it is stunning, like we said, and like it doesn't feel like here's a movie about some crazy people or a crazy family. It feels just like regular people, and like you said, you're seeing this dark side that you just normally wouldn't see.
It's a mirror to like life in a way, like, and it obviously is macabre and like weird at times, and there are obviously things in it that are like, what did you think about her killing the you know, what's his name, the doorman?
I don't know, that was, I wasn't as interested in that. It's hard to say because it's like, you know, you feel bad, but I'm like, the pedophile dad is the most compelling story, and actually in the second half of the movie they leave that story for a longer than they should. Like there's I keep saying they, I guess it's him, he wrote and directed himself, but I'm just used to saying they because in certain films the director will get all the credit, but really it's the writer EP did a lot.
He does he does everything.
But it's like there's like 20 full minutes where I'm like, wait, get back to the guy. Well, I want to watch him.
The real lag is the parents, I think. Like,
right, but there is a great subtle moment too where Jackie Treehorn at the end, they just show a quick insert of him dumping salt all over his meal.
I love it.
I mean, that's just moment. Beautiful and great. But I mean, honestly, I'm like, there could have been, if this movie was a little shorter, I wouldn't have minded, but I still love it. I don't want to sound like I'm
I mean, it has that Woody Allen structure. I mean, it's heavily influenced by Woody Allen. I mean, it is essentially the structure of Hannah and her sisters, where it's around three sisters, you know?
Yeah.
But like the problem with those movies, there's going to be more interest. Yeah, it's hard to have the pedophile and keep on cutting back. But I mean, I think there's other, like, I think Joy is a great character.
Yes, she's great.
And I think I think that the one thing with the woman killing that guy is I think that might be a moment where I'm like, oh, there could be something a little deeper here between them, and they kind of threw something in crazy. And I think it was an easier choice so you didn't have to delve into a more normal, just fat, ugly lady, you know?
Yeah, and it's hard. And like also a woman on her back killing a man with her bare hands is
it's a little
unlikely.
Much.
It's a little much. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple parts, I think in both movies, that's just maybe a little much, you know, a lot less in Dollhouse, but like there's a couple moments. Yeah. I would have rather her not have killed him and it'd be something less distracting where you could really feel two people connecting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would have been a lot more moving, but instead it gets so grotesque that you just kind of feel a little detached in that sequence, you know?
Yeah, I think there are moments where it is an attempt to be so darkly funny that it doesn't hit, and the funny comes more from just the situational stuff. I also love the symbolism or the sort of cinematic moment of they show the establishing of the house, and they live on a hill, but the house is level, and then when they come out after he's been busted, and it's just that school bus, the short school bus just facing straight down to fucking hell. It's great.
Oh, I mean, how amazing! I mean, I don't even know how amazing the part when he brings the police over and he goes, "So what is this about Ronald Farber?" And they're like, "Ronald Farber,
right,
no Grasso," and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, that's a fun moment.
What an awkward moment to just say something where the guy looking at you in that moment knows you fucked two kids.
Yeah, and then again that conversation, which again is like one of the great scenes ever between him and his son. The idea of him like, I would do it again.
I know the honesty.
About the strength of sex or the appeal of sex to somebody and how much it means to somebody.
The fucking honesty in that at the end when he admits coming, I feel like the message of the movie that moment is like, if we could be more honest about this stuff, we could probably have a less lonely life here on this planet. You know?
By the way, the jizz on the pole reminds me of the blood on the ropes in Raging Bull. It feels like it's like an homage, doesn't it? I mean, it drips on. It's like that shot of the bar. It looks like blood on the ropes to me.
They should have played that song, that beautiful score.
Yeah,
you know, for Raging Bull. Yeah, but it is like we do ignore the sexual stuff, and it makes people go crazy, and it makes people act in villainous ways because we don't create a more honest society. And pedophilia especially is something where, because it's so hard to talk about, it pushes people deep down repressing it, which makes them act out in ways in which maybe if we created a less shameful society where we could be open about feelings people have. Yes, that's a normal feeling. It shouldn't be acted upon. But if we acted with more compassion, those people could actually get the help they need.
Right.
And that's an important fucking message. You know what I mean? But instead, we are in a society where like, I think pedophiles are in there like, what, you want to fuck kids? Like you can't even fucking, you can't even fucking talk about it.
Right.
I feel like right now you think I fuck. I feel like right now you think I fuck kids just because I bring it up.
No, well, that and I stole your diary, but
my diary. I feel like if you fuck kids, it's definitely a journal.
I think so. Yeah, good point.
Dear diary, I fucked another kid today.
I mean, we have no chance of any sponsors on this one, but that was another moment. The John Lovitz, you and not I will always be shit. That speech is so fucking great.
I know. Here's the one part that's here's the thing I also have trouble like buying into is when he goes to have sex with Ronald Farber, what is the logistics of that? Did you have trouble with that?
What do you mean? Like he's gonna just say hello and then shove whatever? Yeah.
What's the plan there? I mean, I get like with Joe Grasso, it's like he drugs everyone in the house, right? Yeah, I believe so, right?
Yes.
But with this, you have the kid who's like alone. He's just did he just come in and be like, I brought you a cupcake?
I mean, well, that's the thing too. Like he's gonna get caught. I mean, like there's gonna be plenty of evidence of him being in this house.
Maybe he like is okay but it seemed like, I know he's gonna get caught, but it seemed like he at least with Ronald Farber, at least for the time being, somehow did it without Ronald Farber knowing it happened, right?
Yeah.
And my question is, how did that happen?
Well, he's smart. He's a therapist. He's manipulative. He's got drugs.
How do you fuck a kid if like if he's asleep or something?
I don't know. Well, he's probably awake at that time. He opens the door and he fucking, I don't know. I mean, like that didn't take me out of it, I guess, just because obviously he's going to be able to manipulate a child.
Yeah, I guess so. But without the child knowing who it is, I guess is my thing,
By the way, the address 11. Oh, I see what you mean. Address is 11 Angel. And they're 11-year-old. He's like a little angel.
Oh, Easter egg man. The Easter egg man.
Is that something? Feels like something. We got to get to Dollhouse because there's 23 minutes.
But real quickly, do you see the boom mic come into shot at one point? It's pretty bad.
No, which spot?
It's when the cops, it's like the most intense scene. It's when the cops come in and he sits him in the living room. Boom mic goes real far down. It's like, yeah.
It's so funny you said that because there's one moment when they're at the dinner table, that same family, and the sound is bad. The wife is also great, by the way. That sister, she's fantastic.
Which one?
The pedophile's wife.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. Yeah,
she's great. But at one point, I was like, "It sounds like shit." Like they're like on a set with bad sound.
We all thought you'd be alone, mom, dad, everybody. Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, just incredible and so
we ruined
funny.
The whole movie for you, but
yeah. All right, let's talk about. So, Welcome to the Dollhouse. As much as I love Happiness, I think Welcome to the Dollhouse is, I almost feel I connect emotionally to it in a way that I cry watching that movie.
Oh, it's a better film for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it doesn't have the grotesque shit. Like everything in it is fairly real. I mean, there's a little broad comedy, which I like the kid getting kidnapped, but you are connected so much to her. And like, this movie is so profoundly moving and deeply upsetting.
Well, everybody's so good. That brother is so great and relatable, and she's so great. I can't believe how great her. I don't know how he gets these performances out of actors,
out of kids,
particularly a kid. But I mean, the kidnapping is great though. When she's like, "Am I in trouble?" and he's like, "Nah, not really. They're pretty." I mean, it's pretty great. He's like, they really don't care about you, which is so painful and sad and relatable.
It's
this idea of like, am I in trouble for running away? No, they don't.
I mean, what is so amazing about this movie is that it is a really dark movie about a shitty life, but it's not like you're not watching something in the sedan. You're watching a typical American life. You know what I mean? A typical American suburban life. And it's a nightmare. It really puts a mirror to the cruelty of human beings and how that's so perfectly expressed in middle school. And I think that the two things this movie deals with, there are two lies, and we've talked about this a little. There's two lies in Hollywood movies that this movie kind of really blows apart. Number one lie is that all the bullying takes place in high school. That's not true. The major bullying is in middle school. It always has been. It's the most hormonal place. I was a bully, and I did my worst shit in middle school, you know?
It's hard to believe you were a bully, but I guess you were bullied, so you become a bully.
Which is so much of this movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what's so beautiful about the movie is it just goes from immediately everything she hears. She goes, it almost reminds me of Big Lebowski, where like everything she says, she has heard earlier in the movie.
I mean, well, let me just real quickly say the other thing, but like, yes, the cycle of abuse, the way instead of having a clear victim and victimizer, but it just shows how the abuse just trickles down is like so honest and such like so many bad high school movies. The kid getting bullied is like perfect. It's actually really cool. And it makes no sense why everyone's bullying him, you know?
Yes.
But she's
almost all of them.
But first of all, she is unattractive.
Is she though? Even this movie, I felt though, I think she's just a person wearing glasses. I think she's kind of cute. She's just got like, I guess, big teeth-ish and then has glasses on. But she's not like an ugly person.
She's very Jewy.
I guess so.
She's pretty Jewy, but yeah, the glasses are bad. I guess if she just took it is kind of like the high school thing. Just take off the glasses.
Yeah. Adrian.
Fuck you. No, anyway. But it's obviously like, she's obviously compared to Hollywood, she's a dog. I mean, like compared to most movies with kids in them. And she's annoying, which is an honest thing. Like you feel for her, but it's not like these other movies where it's some hot kid who's just, for some reason, all these ugly, usually in movies, the kid getting bullied is hot. And the bullies are like ugly and fat. It makes it's like watching a movie where the Jews are killing the Germans. It's like that. It's a literal like reverse depiction in most high school things.
Well, Munich and Inglourious Basterds are both great films, I think.
Well, but they don't. Yes.
But there are bullies that are ugly. I mean, the bullies in my school were fat and ugly assholes.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not, but like I'll say this: the kids getting bullied, they weren't typically very good looking. That plays a part, and that's not true in a lot of movies. You know?
No, I agree with that completely.
Even Freaks and Geeks. I mean, I love Freaks and Geeks. It's one of my favorite shows. But that main kid is pretty good looking. Like I feel like he would be the kid. He wouldn't be bullied to that point. He'd be the kid that like every girl loved. You know?
But he's not bullied horribly in that show. By the way, this movie, I texted you about it. This is the biggest influence on Freaks and Geeks. They're so similar. The music is so similar. It's like they just took this.
Well, actually, you're right. The music is which one came first?
This came first. Freaks and Geeks was like 99, 2000.
Oh, you're right. They just fucking
95.
stole the music, that hormonal kind of like angry metal music. Yeah.
No, I was like shocked by it. I'm like, oh my God, this is the basis of Freaks and Geeks. It's the same like tonally in so many ways. This is darker than Freaks and Geeks.
Way darker.
By the way, Freaks and Geeks is a TV show that I think is incredible. It's one of the few TV shows I've ever liked. I think it's like unbelievable.
Well, it's a great show, but like, this is obviously, I mean, this movie is so dark and like, so like it starts off kind of funny dark. And then it gets to some pretty, like that brownie scene is just pretty vicious, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is the best depiction of bullying in any movie, I think.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to watch you shit.
Well,
is so fucking jarring and real.
So jarring, and it gets to one of the great, most honest moments. Why do you hate me? Because you're ugly. And that is part of it. That's part of the bullying. Like, even in middle school, looks play such a big part. And like, it is like this movie shows that in a way no other movie does. Like it's like an insane thing to watch, because we all know middle school is kind of mean.
Mm-hmm.
But what this movie does is no, the cruelty in middle school represents something pretty fucked up in human nature in general, you know?
Right.
Because this is a movie about cruelty, you know? And it's a movie about people being cruel to others, and then those people being cruel to others. One of the most beautiful scenes ever is when Brandon or whatever leaves the clubhouse, and she goes outside, and the gay kid walks up, and she just calls him a faggot. Like
no, it's great.
One of the most beautiful scenes of just a cycle of abuse. It's
calling her
so
sister
touching.
lesbo, and then
Yes.
the sitting there with the hammer over her sleeping sister's head is such a great image.
You're so lucky.
Yeah. She's like, you have it so fucking easy, and she's gonna hit her with a hammer. By the way, the hardest I've laughed at a movie in probably 5 years. I mean, and this movie's 25 years old. When they're rewatching the video, and she pushes her into the pool, and the dad goes, ah! and it cuts outside, and you hear the little sister go, "Let's watch it again." I'm like, that is as funny as as anything in a movie. I mean, the dads laugh. If you're at home, fucking pause, go rent the movie, buy the movie, go to that moment. It is so funny.
It is I forgot how funny he is. I mean, I'm trying to think of the classic lines of, when Brandon says on the phone, "I'm going to rape you." And the mother's like, "So who's Brandon?"
That's great.
The part where he's smoking and she goes, he goes, "You want to puff?" And she goes, "No, but I do think weed should be legalized." And he goes, "Why do you have to be such a cunt all the time?"
That's great. That's great. And by the way, she also asked in that scene, "Who's Brandon?" She's like, "Is he nice?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's pretty nice."
Is he nice?
And the line from the kid, that's so funny. He's like, "You're gonna get raped. Be there."
Be there.
I mean, to add "be there" to "you're gonna get raped."
It's some of the best style.
I think she said. I think she says he's okay. Is he nice? He's okay. And he's like threatening to rape her.
It's just one gem after the other. When she's like, "Do you still want to rape me?" And he's like, "When do you have to leave?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't have to be anywhere." And he's like, "It's probably not enough time."
That's great. Well, and he's afraid too.
Yes.
I mean, it's great because to him, it's still sex. He's still a middle school kid that doesn't know how to have sex.
But this is why this movie is so important, especially now. We live in a world now where there's a clear line between victim and victimizer. And we all have to act like there's just villains and good guys. There's just perfect people getting fucked over. And then there's the people who are just predators. I'm not trying to go on a whole Me Too thing, but this movie is a real honest depiction of the cycle of abuse that is true, where we're all victims and we're all victimizers. And that's such an important thing to see in a movie. It's such a real thing. And we try to live in a world now where that's not the case, where there's just saints and villains. And no, it's trauma and it's cruelty passed on from everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this movie reminded me a lot of his stuff. Reminds me of Seinfeld, of Larry David's stuff, and Alexander Payne. I feel like this is a big influence on Alexander Payne's movies as well. But like that, similar with Larry, has like a guy in a wheelchair as an asshole, along the same lines of what you're talking about. Is you have these people with disabilities who are huge pieces of shit and bad people. And this really billionaire white guy is actually right and correct in a lot of these things. It feels very similar to that.
And that makes it human. That makes it more human when you don't make everyone saints, or, when giving a guy in a wheelchair, making him an asshole, gives him dignity,
right.
Like that you wouldn't have if you're like, "Oh, he's a saint." You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see Forrest Gump. I want to see a mentally handicapped person call someone a fat whore. That's humanity. You know what I mean? You're like, "Oh, they're part of this game too. They're assholes too." That's the humanity.
Why are you gonna criticize Forrest Gump? I mean, what does he have to do with any of this?
Well, he's like,
it's a great soundtrack.
Saint.
He runs.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
great soundtrack.
He loves.
Fucking,
it's not a great soundtrack.
I mean, it's a little obvious. We've talked about it. This is our first episode. Against the wind, when he's running against the wind.
It's beautiful use.
Fucking literal shit.
Okay, so those are bad songs. Against the Wind's bad, Rainy Day Woman's bad, Hound Dog. Yeah, that's what a soundtrack is, you fucking retard.
You already know the songs. A movie soundtrack should be like Wes Anderson, when you learn like, "Oh, I didn't know fucking Nico did that version of the Jackson Brown song." It shouldn't be like, "Oh, wow, that CCR song I already listened to all the time."
Yeah, but it's about, we're not going to argue about Forrest Gump, but it's about the culture. It's about, that's what it's about. But anyways, Steve Rogers.
Big Dick Steve Rogers.
It's like amazing. I was like, what? That character is so fucking great. And my favorite moment in the movie is special people equals retarded. Your club is for retards. I mean, those are the best back-to-back lines in any movie ever, I think.
It's so beautiful.
Do you even know it's special people equals retards? Your club is for retards.
There's so much cruelty in this movie.
Oh, it's so fucking funny.
One of the great lines in just terms of like the perfect. First of all, I don't know how he wrote this because like I barely remember middle school, and he like captures the fucking dialogue perfectly. One of the great, like in terms of a perfect middle school dialogue, when she goes to see that other woman, Big Dick Steve Rogers fucked. Mm-hmm. Remember?
Yes.
And which also is a perfect thing about middle school that people also don't address, which is the fact that she's the same age as that other woman, the one in the car.
Right.
But Dawn looks like she's 7. And I'm like semi-attracted to the other woman. So like that's I'm kidding. Well, but she is like probably like 17, you know. But that is the thing about look, I'm just joking.
I see.
But that is the thing about like middle school. Like some people look really young and some people look way adult. So it's like it perfectly because they're the same age. But when she goes to him, she has one of the most perfect. I wrote it down exactly. Do you remember this line I'm about to say?
No.
This is one of the most perfect lines to just capture like that language of childhood. She asked what he had, the relationship she had with Steve Rogers. And she goes, "We finger fucked once last spring. That's it. It's all over now."
I mean,
just talking about that like it was like a 4-year long marriage.
Right. I mean, and then the callback when she plays piano for him, and then she goes, "I could play more, but I sprained my fingers yesterday." It's fucking great.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, she sprained her fingers fingering herself.
Oh, I fucking missed that.
Because she says we finger fucked, and then it goes to
her, like,
main girl and looking at her fingers in the bathroom, and then a scene later she's playing the piano and she's like, "I can't play anymore because I sprained my fingers yesterday," which means she was just like jackhammering her pussy.
Probably with that hammer. But yeah, no, that's a guy. I didn't even know that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this movie's so honest, and I don't know. I really I didn't this time, but I remember when I watched it before, I really cry like at the end. It's when she runs away to find her sister and just that fantasy of everyone saying they love her.
Yeah.
It is so open and vulnerable and so like just what everyone wants. It's like you're looking at someone else's soul. It's just so fragile and beautiful. It's just like, to me, this is what art's about. Like really, like we're all so separated, but when you look into someone, there's so much a strong desire for love, and there's so much pain and like desire, and like that moment is you just feel so connected to another human being in that moment.
Yeah, no, it's so relatable. And that's what we're all doing here you and I are doing here in New York, essentially, and running around doing spots and trying to write movies and stuff, is you want your parents, your family, your town to be like, "Wow, that was great. You did it." And then meanwhile, this other person is getting attention because they got fucking kidnapped and it was your fault.
I mean, I guess empathy is when you look into someone and it's basically just you, essentially. Like everyone is the same, Right. And like that, it is this Buddhist moment where you're like, oh, we're all suffering creatures who just want love. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, that part of, and the brother saying I love you is so powerful, because the sad thing about the brother and the sister, it's a very tragic relationship because they're both bullied and they're both the ugly kids, and they should have a stronger connection. But the brother really is kind of like, his hurt has caused him to go deep down, and all he does is dream about college. Like college is his way out. So that exchange at the end where they're talking, when he's telling him about high school, like, you realize she does have a close relation. She does have the possibility of a closer relationship with him, but he won't let her in. He's like, life sucks. I'm on my own and you're on your own. You know what I mean?
Right. And she's not cool.
She's not cool, but he's not cool either. I mean, like, but like, there is a sadness between them where like, if anyone would get along, it would be them too. Like, you know what I mean? And yet they still don't, because everyone's alone,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so relatable, and you identify so much to both of them, and being like, okay, if I can just get this cool person into our group, maybe that'll get us something.
I think when she goes, I mean, it's to me, that's a great I don't know, epiphany when you really fully see a character. When he talks about all the bullying he went through in that moment, and then she says, "I don't want to go to Disney World," and he'll be like, "It'll look great on. Don't be silly. It'll look great on your college resume." You really go, "Oh yeah, this is." You've known it the whole time, but you're seeing it for the first time. Oh, this guy has been hurt so much, and he's just fucking just planning for a future and just disassociating from his life right now. With these future plans.
Yeah, which again, like I identify with that. He's like, all right, but we can get out and it will be better once I'm out of this, which is, mirrors my life. And then here I am 40 and there's still something missing.
Yeah.
From those days, from those feelings that they're going through.
It's the algorithm here, not the thing you're going to achieve. Once your view of the world needs to change, not the world itself,
Well, and you keep thinking it's that thing that we're still dealing with, which I just alluded to. It's this this illusion. I alluded to an illusion, but it's this illusion that like if I just get enough, if I can accomplish enough or create something enough, it'll be better, and then I'll be seen and heard, and it becomes like you just have to accept that you're not seen and heard by the people you want to be seen and heard by,
and you have to
create your own thing.
Give up on the desire to be complete. Give up on that desire, like realize you can complete in the present moment, not this thing where you'll get the thing in the future, But like, I mean, yeah, the movie is like it is the kind of humor I love, where it's just this empathetic, mean humor, and like, at the end when she's singing the Hummingbird song, and you see her and the girl. I don't know if you know, the girl next to her looks just like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. But,
I didn't notice.
But like when she's singing that song, and you see, oh, she's still. To me, that ending represents her like. She's still hopeful that something good could happen, and she still has love to give. And even in this cruel world, she still, goes on with hopes and dreams.
And she's trying to be part of the thing.
She's trying to be part of
even if they don't want her to be part of it, she's trying to be.
Yes, that's a beautiful point, because there's one shot that's really beautiful of the party, and you see her in the window. And this is someone who's never invited to the party, and part of that might be her own behavior.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that framing. I think I made a note of that somewhere also. And also the imagery. I mean, I know we got to wrap up, but the imagery of her in a onesie talking to Steve Rogers in like a dress shirt, like a flowery adult 70s porn dress shirt, gross, and she's wearing a onesie. I mean, it's really like, and it feels like there's an aspect of pedophilia even in that, because he looks like he's 20 years old, and she's in like this onesie pajama thing. It's the same. It mirrors the relationship with her parents, where she's trying to be seen by this adult who's just not.
They'll just never
interested.
I mean, it's so. But the need is still there. I mean, that "I love you" part from everyone is just. It just blows me away. It's just like it's just like, it is this thing where you're like, oh fuck, like you're just looking right into her. You know what I mean? It's just it's so intense, that part.
And how vicious when they're eating that dessert, since she's not eating her dessert. Yeah.
It's so cruel. And I mean, the other part we got to talk, I mean, when she's given the speech about her sister being kidnapped, and they all just start bullying her, yelling "wiener dog." And she's looking at them with this look. It's like she's staring into the face of human cruelty.
Right.
Like, it's just like, it's one of the most misanthropic moments in movies. Just like that moment where they're all just like, even in this scene, they're all just bullying her, and it's just a sea of people. And you're like, oh, humanity kind of does suck.
Yeah.
And it's like a thing that the movie, like another thing movies don't talk about, that humanity kind of sucks. It's kind of cruel, and it's cruel. Humans are cruel, and at the end, when she's still trying to be a part of it, still trying to connect, it's like it's a dark movie, but the end still has this weird fucking hope in it that's just like,
well, because humanity is also fun. It's fun to be on a bus singing with everybody.
Yeah. And you're right. That's a beautiful point. Like, she's trying to be a part of that. She's trying to sing with the group. She's trying to fit in even now. She doesn't give up.
I like that this movie is so powerful that even talking about it is bumming us out.
I know. I feel like I want to cry. But yeah, no, it's just a great. I will say I love Happiness, but Welcome to the Dollhouse, definitely, especially now, definitely I connect to it more.
You love Happiness, but you'll never find it. Yes.
That's a beautiful song, by the way, which I guess REM wrote.
Oh, the one she's singing?
Yeah. Well, REM does a cover at the end.
I didn't know.
Yeah, there's a song. Yeah, happiness. Where are you?
Well, I had to pause and run to record.
Oh, well, that sucks. There's a really great REM song at the very end.
Oh, that sucks. I'll never be able to hear it now. All right, we got to wrap up. You have a hard out, and
I got a hard out.
Yeah,
hard out. Well, I mean,
I don't know why I'm saying and. There's no and. That's just you have to leave.
I think we'll be okay with this episode. Are we gonna get flagged? No,
we're not gonna get any money, but no one's gonna watch it. They've never heard of these movies, but I think it'll be great.
I don't want any Chappelle got the transvestites walking out, not transvestite. Jesus Christ, transgender people doing the walkout. We're gonna get like pedophiles walking out or something. I don't know. I don't want to.
It's funny because it was fine until you said transvestite. And it was all good. The pedophilia shit. What the worst part is I shampooed my hair and it's so flat. Look at this. I look like a fucking dad.
No, it looks good.
No, get out of here. It's terrible.
Nah, it looks good. It looks good.
All right, where are you going to be? Plug the special.
Oh, fuck my fucking dick. Yeah, I'm recording a special. This is the first time I've plugged it here, right?
No, second. Boy, you really don't pay attention even when you're talking. That's how boring you are. Even you can't listen.
The whole time you're talking, I'm like, I'll get the groceries at 2. And pick up the milk.
That's a great moment in happiness too. And he's like, I'm boring. Don't tell me I'm not boring. I know I'm boring. That's great. And he's not even listening to him say that he's boring.
Yeah. Well, I brought that up earlier. Now you don't fucking listen.
No, you brought up the part. You didn't mention Philip Seymour Hoffman saying that I'm boring.
You're right. Anyway. So we both have I feel like it's that Mitch Hedberg joke where they're both at the hotel they get the same shampoo and they have the same fluff and bounce.
This is terrible. I got to put some shit in there. I got to come in my hand.
Get Herbal Essence or something to sponsor this one. No, not that. You look like, push it back up. You look like Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder that way. But all right, now you really look like Brandon's brother. So I'm recording a special at the Comedy Cellar, December 21st. You're already sold out with everything, right?
I'm sold out. My 8 p.m. is sold out. 10 p.m. is not. So come to mine. December 7th.
Get sold out so I can only talk about mine.
Come to both. Come to mine, and then see whatever your shit is.
Well, come to Joe. You're gonna come to Joe's, but come to mine after. It's 2 weeks. You got to go to both. In fact, if you go to Joe's, you have to go to mine. Absolutely. We should do 2-for-1 tickets or something. That way you can sell out. I would. I would love to do that. We'll do 2-for-1. I'll talk to Liz, but yeah, December 21st at 8 and 10 p.m. And it's tickets. You can reserve it. You don't have to pay anything right now. You just have to pay at the door. Reserve the tickets now on Instagram. On my bio, it'll have the link to the show. So just Raanan Comedy, Raanan Comedy. Go to the bio and you click on the link. It'll take you right to where you can reserve the tickets. And also, if you want to see me on the road, I'll just really quickly. Or do you want to real quick? Okay. Oh fuck! It's 7:02. 7:03. Shit. You're fucked. I'm fucked. Blue Room Comedy Club, October 28th through 30th. Go Bananas, November 11th through 13th in Cincinnati. Headlining Albany Funny Bone, November 19th through 20th. I'm doing Doug Benson's Gramercy Theater on November 28th, 12 Days of Christmas or whatever. Velveeta Room in Austin on December 10th through 11th, and then the Riot in Houston on December 17th and 18th. And tickets are available at rononhirschberg.com. Nice. And I will be at Zany Chicago, November 18th through the 20th. That's a big one. Job there once. Can I just do my plug? I'm sorry. November 18th through 20th, Zany, Chicago. And then November, the following weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, Providence Comedy Connection, November 26th and 27th, I think it is, or 25th and 26th. And that's it. Subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, fucking just click subscribe for God's sakes. Go subscribe to Raanan's. We need subscribers or else no one will see this shit. And that's it. All right. Follow us on Patreon. I'm late. I got to go. All right. This is great. All right. Cut. All right. Talk to you soon, buddy. Peace. Take cut. Oh, cut.